captains meeting on the middle of the field for Cabrillo, number 8, Fitz Wilson, and number 85, Scott Duncan. And for the Pirates of Morrow Bay, number 11, Kurt Chestnut, and number 53, Ditto Payne.
Designated area up here, just to the right of the press box. Thank you.
Coin has been tossed, yet no indication of who's doing what. It appears Morrow Bay has won the toss and has elected to receive, and Cabrillo will kick the ball from the north goal to the south goal. So Cabrillo now, in the 6th ball game of the season, having won the toss more often than having lost it, will start out today on the defense.
You mentioned in the pregame show that there is a sun factor, and the sun factor right now is that as Morrow Bay is going to be taking the ball on offense, the receivers will be looking back into the sun. In other words, headed north, that sun is going to be shining right in a receiver's eyes when he turns around to pick up the ball. That may be a factor in the passing game.
Conquistadors, and as we've mentioned so many times, the opening ball game in their new league, the Los Padres League, and the Los Padres League has been traditionally not quite so tough as the Northern League, but they've had a powerhouse in the Atascadero. But I see that Paso Robles, defeated last night by San Luis Obispo, whom Cabrillo handled very easily in the first outing this season. So it appears that it's going to be Cabrillo and Atascadero going for all the marbles in the Los Padres League this year. While we have them, we might also mention that the number 4 ranked Cabrillo Conquistadors, with the win here today, could easily move ahead of the Lompoc Braves, who are rated number 3, but did get defeated last night by the Rigetti Warriors by a score of 7-0. So it's a big ball game all around. A big start for the Conquistadors here in the Los Padres League, a chance to move up in the Northwestern Conference of CIF.
Well, Gene, it's really funny it feels funny to be sitting here saying we're getting league play underway in Morrow Bay. It's the opponent. It's still hard to get used to. It's been so long being in the Northern League.
Kicking off for the Conquistadors will be number 12, Brian Grant. Back deep to receive, number 34, Mike Taft for the Pirates. And see, I can't make out the number across the field.
I can't either. It's
Looks
possibly 23, but
perhaps 33, Vince Isbell. We'll be a little slow with Morrow Bay numbers for a while. The roster of Morrow Bay players is not in chronological order, so we'll just have to search for numbers while we can. Underway here at House Stadium. The kick into the end zone, aided by the wind by Brian Grant, and the Pirates will come out 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
Grant's kick goes into the end zone. Ball will be brought out to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Morrow Bay Pirates.
Starting offensively for the Pirates of Morrow Bay in the line, at center, number 51, Bruce Radford. The guards, number 61, Brett Hodgson, and number 53, Ditto Payne. The tackles, number 79, Eric Howard, and number 55, Jerry Gutierrez. Chestnut brings the Pirates to the line of scrimmage. In the first play of the game, decides to keep the ball to himself and crashes across the 25-yard line up to the 26. So a quarterback sneak to start off the ball game and settle his butterflies in a nice game.
J.J. Morrison on the tackle, but really about 3 more people could be credited with it. They just blocked that hole very nicely.
The receivers for Morrow Bay, wide receivers number 20, Mitch Webster, number 24, Paul Boyan, and number 80, the tight end, Jeff Bishop. The pitch is back to number 32, Gonzalez, and Gonzalez going nowhere on his first carry. They'll give him a gain of 1. It'll be 2nd down and 3 for the Pirates.
3rd and 3 Pirates from the 27.
Third down. Wide receiver is Boyan. The give is to the tailback, Vince Isbell.
Fine play by Scott Duncan to stop that it looks like it's just short of the first down. There may be a measurement. It's that close.
Referee Gus Froelich calling in the change from the sideline. Can't be more than the width of a stripe on a football.
Well, it may be a question of how long ago they painted the marker.
First down by the width of the stripe on the football. First and 10 at the 30-yard line for the Pirates of Morrow Bay. So they're going to try to do against Cabrillo's defense what has been awfully difficult for a lot of teams, and that is run inside the tackle. Chestnut, quarterback, gives to Gonzalez, and Gonzalez trapped in the backfield. A loss all the way back to the 27-yard line.
What a superb play by Ricky Reetwell. Number 32, he just broke into the backfield, fought off his blocker, and made the tackle all at once. That was just a superb individual effort for the loss.
Will be now second down and 13 for the Pirates. In the first quarter, with 10 minutes left to play, there's no score in this Los Padres League opener for both teams. Chestnut wants to throw the ball. The intended receiver coming from the outside, number 20, Mitch Webster, well covered across the middle. And Chestnut has to eat the ball. The ball being marked clear back at the 24-yard line, a loss of 3.
And number 35, Davis, had that well covered, and you could see the quarterback from Morrow Bay just looking and looking. Couldn't do a thing about it. When that happens, somebody's going to get loose on defense and get into the sack.
Tawo Davis been tough on the pass rush all year. Makes another great play. Wide to the right is Paul Boy at number 24. Chestnut on the pitch to Isbell, and Isbell finds a big hole before being leveled at the 30-yard line.
Number 33, Vince Isbell, the ball carrier, making that tackle to the conquistadors with number 20, Mike Marcelli.
Isbell with a 7-yard pickup.
7-yard gain on his way, brings
But it'll be fourth down and 9 yards for the Pirates, and they'll have to kick the ball away.
from about the 31-yard line.
Kicking is number 73. The ball taken by Vincent Flowers on the sideline, and he's run out of bounds.
Returning the punt for the Conquistadors, Vincent Flowers.
Flowers gives the Conquistadors great field position with the ball being marked just across midfield at the Morrow Bay 49-yard line.
Now, if that punt was any indicator of the kicking game for Morrow Bay, they're not going to have to worry about the swirling winds up above the stadium. That was a very weak punt and just leaves Cabrillo in excellent position.
Tim Morgan, Mike Sullivan come wide to the right. It's the Davis-Walton gang along with Fitz Wilson in the backfield, and Rod Davis is loose across the 45 before being dragged down at the Morrow Bay 41-yard line. A pickup of 8.
Miranda and McClanahan just dove forward and dive blocks, and they just made such a huge hole. It was just a great hole to run through.
Second down and 2 yards for Cabrillo. They send number 80, Mike Deal, and number 25, Mike Sullivan to the right. Fitz Wilson at quarterback gives once again to Rod Davis, and Davis pulls his way down across the 30. So Rod Davis, the small man, doing what he does best, and that's simply run through people. An 11-yard gain down to the 30-yard line.
Bringing up first and 10 Conquistadors from the Morrow Bay 30.
Third wide receiver for the Conquistadors in the ball game, Tim Smart. On the option, the pitch back to Kenny Walton. Walton can't hold on, and the ball's covered by the blue-clad Morrow Bay Pirates. And so what looked to be a great field position break for the Conquistadors here early in the first quarter has turned into a break for the Pirates, where it's first and 10 on their own 42-yard line.
You know, I really think that was a question of the first two plays that just looked too easy. And that third play, he was smelling, I want to get a touchdown or something, and really didn't wait to get a grasp on the ball before making his move.
The ball's on the 37-yard line. as the quarterback, Chestnut, brings his people to the line of scrimmage. And on a great quick opening play, Isbell able to burst across the 40-yard line up to midfield. So Vince Isbell with a great gain all the way to the 49-yard line, a 12-yard pickup. And Morrow Bay coming on with some power up the middle. Chestnut on the give to Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets across midfield, gets maybe two.
I noticed some hesitation by Gonzalez there. That was almost a fumble on the handoff. We may look for something like that to happen later in the game.
Second down, 8, as the Pirates for the first time inside Cabrillo territory go to work. On the option play, Chestnut pitches back to Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to find some room outside, gets one or two, and there's a penalty flag.
Well, I'm going to guess on that penalty there was a holding. It looked like the blocker was holding out on the end against Morrow Bay.
We've got a clipping penalty. It was on that play, and it was that person. So the question now is third down and 6 or second down and 24. They're going to take the penalty. It'll be second and 22. Move the ball all the way back to the Morrow Bay 38-yard line from whence they began. 6 minutes, 15 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. There is no score. Morrow Bay's first possession, they punted the ball away, gave Cabrillo great field position at the 50. Cabrillo fumbled the ball away at the 37 of Morrow Bay, and Morrow Bay now trying to make something work here in the first quarter. Chestnut looking to throw the ball. Intended for number 33, Vince Isbell. That ball nearly intercepted on the outside by Tim Morgan.
I don't know what's happening with Morrow Bay, and it may be the anxiousness to get off to a good start, which they haven't gotten off to, but they're having some confusion in the backfield. A little slip on a handoff, and there the quarterback almost ran over his own halfback, and they're going to have to straighten those problems out in the backfield if they expect some good execution.
These kids have been watching Cabrillo films all week, and they've seen how they've handled all those tougher opponents from around the league. Chestnut now wants to throw the ball again on the rollout. Tucks it under, he's across the 40. And sloppy tackling by the Conquistadors as Kurt Chestnut able to move the ball all the way to midfield from the 38, a 12-yard pickup. The Conquistadors a number of chances to keep that from being much of a gainer. But it's still 4th and 10 for the Pirates, and they'll kick the ball for the second time. And the kicker is a player for whom we have no name. Back deep to receive are Flowers and Morgan. High kick, very short. Touched by a Cabrillo player at the 30-yard line, and Tim Morgan very alertly hauls it in at the 27, where it's 1st and 10, Conquistadors.
And Marcelli was fortunate on that play. He really clipped, just pushed right in the back. The man he was covering, and no one saw it and threw a flag. So Cabrillo avoided a penalty there.
1st and 10, Cabrillo from their own 27.
1st and 10 at the 27 now. Cabrillo started fast but fumbled the ball. Looking to give it another shot. Vincent Flowers now in at wide receiver along with Timmy Morgan. The ball is given to Kenny Walton. Walton looking for some green. Advances the ball up to the 35-yard line, and Tim, that was pretty much all on his own.
What a great individual effort, because a normal runner would have been taken down on the first tackle, and he just jumped right out of that tackle. In fact, he eluded 4 tackles on that. Just a wonderful run.
Ball advanced all the way to the 35-yard line, a pickup of 8 for Kenny Walton.
Well,
It's second down and 2.
That's what frustrates an opponent. You should have him stop for no gain. He turns it into an 8-yard gain.
Mike Deal and Vincent Flowers both go wide to the weak side. The give is up the middle to Rod Davis, and Davis pays the price to pick up 3 feet. They give him 2 yards, and it's close enough for the Chains once again. 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
It's hard to tell when you see the markers on the sidelines, but it really looks like he's well short of it by about maybe a foot or 2. Then often they'll spot the Chains, and the whole perspective is different.
Can't be more than an inch. It'll be third down, and not much. It would seem to me here that Coach Radford is faced with 2 real choices. Do you take this first down and continue to roll down the field, or do you blow this third down away, try for something big, and come back feeling pretty confident that your backfield of Wilson, Walton, and Davis can pick up an inch? Flowers and Smart will go wide to the left. The give is to Rod Davis. And Rod Davis running off the block of tight end Scott Duncan, and right tackle Ruben Soto moves the ball all the way to the 46-yard line where it's first and 10 Cabrillo. The right side of that offensive line has done such a fine job all year. Jay Tiemann now in at tight end. The give is to Kenny Walton, and Walton's got some room. Kenny Walton darts through that line. He is so quick, moves all the way down to the Morrow Bay 42-yard line.
That was a wonderful misdirection play is what made the hole open there. Eric Howard, the linebacker for Morrow Bay, was in the position he should be at the snap, and then there was just a slight fake to the left, and he took, or to the right rather, he took off, vacated his spot, and they ran Davis right through that position.
Deal and Flowers to the left. Tiemann still in at tight end. On the option, the pitch is back to Davis, and Davis kicks the ball out of bounds, clear back at the 46. So the option, something that's been bread and butter for Cabrillo in 5 ball games in the preseason, being very well defensed here early by the Pirates. It'll be second down and 13 for the Conquistadors. Just under 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter. There is no score. Wilson on the give to Kenny Walton. And Walton down across the 40-yard line, and a nice effort. And that time, Kenny Walton running through the left side. McClanahan and Miranda doing a fine job of blocking. Pickup of 8 yards. 3rd and 5 for the Conquistadors. Tiemann and Duncan, 2 tight ends. Wishbone, the first time we've seen that from the Conquistadors, and the ball goes to number 21, Rod Davis. Mike Marcelli coming in to play that third back in that Wishbone backfield. So Cabrillo with the new look for the first time in a few weeks.
Well, it apparently fooled Morrow Bay because they certainly weren't set up to stop it either, and Davis got well into the backfield before a hand touched him.
First and 10 at the 31, Conquistadors. Flowers and Morgan go wide to the left. On the option, the pitch back to Davis, and once again, not a particularly good pitch. But Davis one-hands it and squirts his way down across the 25 to the 24-yard line.
Brought down by number 26, the Pirates, Mark Cabrillo.
Nice little block on the outside by Vincent Flowers as well that helped him turn the corner. He just made a good block on the defensive end. That allowed the runner to scoot on down that far side.
Second down and 3 for the Conquistadors. Fitzwilson on the give to Walton. And this time the right side of that defensive line is having none of Kenny Walton. Walton, 6 foot 1 inch, 175-pound junior, has done such a fine job for the Conquistadors this year. Pick up a 1.
You know, the center of Morrow Bay's line is playing fairly well. The difficulty they're having right now is if Cabrillo runs wide.
The ball at the 23-yard line. The wishbone formation once again. The give is to Mike Marcelli. Marcelli across the 20, gets driven back, and a nice second effort takes him down to the 17-yard line.
Number 20, Mike Marcelli, the ball carrier for the Conquistadors, brought down by a number of players led by number 20, Mitch Webster. Pick up 6 yards on the play. First and 10, Conquistadors from Morrow Bay, 17.
With Marcelli and Walton and Davis in the backfield as running backs, they have got some speed and some power. Once again, the wishbone, where it's first and 10 at the 17. The give is straight up the middle to number 34, Terry Brantley. Brantley's first series on offense, running out of the fullback position, and Brantley down across the 10 to the 9-yard line.
Morrow Bay, 8-yard gain on the play, second and 2, Conquistadors.
Well, Cabrillo started on their own 27-yard line, and they have rolled up 4 first downs thus far to get where they are.
And that's the end of the first quarter, a very fast-moving quarter, with both teams able to move the ball and both teams being bitten by bad breaks. So with the score 0-0 after 12 minutes, we'll be back with the second quarter right after this. After 1 quarter of play, it's Morrow Bay 0, the Cabrillo Conquistadors 0, but on the move. The ball marked at the 9-yard line of Morrow Bay, and it's second down and about 2 from the 9. So actually, I guess, considering what people expected from this game, Morrow Bay can consider being ahead here. The score tied at 0. The give is up the middle to Rod Davis. And Davis, with that power, great leg strength, down across the 5 to the 4-yard line.
Well, the clearest difference you can see between both of these teams so far, I think, is in the blocking and the quickness. Cabrillo is so precise in their moves, and Morrow Bay still looks like they're trying to get their bearings, even after a quarter of the game is gone.
First and goal, the give is once again to Davis, and Davis through that left side of the offensive line. McClanahan and Miranda punches the ball into the end zone, and Cabrillo, with just 11 minutes, 41 seconds remaining in the half, go out on top by a score of 6-0. On to try the extra point for the Conquistadors, number 25, Mike Sullivan. And we'll have a motion penalty. Steve Pyro, number 33, went in motion. And the right side of the offensive line moved. And they're going to call that against Morrow Bay. Okay.
Well, they got him to jump into the zone, the neutral zone.
So now we see the offensive unit back onto the field. Cabrillo with the ball at the 1-yard line to try the point after. Will go for 2. In the wishbone, the give is to Davis, and Rod Davis adds 2 more to the scoreboard. So with 11:41 remaining in the half, it's the Cabrillo Conquistadors 8 and the Morrow Bay Pirates 0. And we'll be back with the kickoff after these messages. A note that number 67, Steve Smith, into the ball game in that offensive line as well.
Yeah, that was a real nice move by Grant. He made 2 fine moves. One just as he crossed the line when he took a little jump to the right to avoid one tackle, and then he took a left one that's sprung him to the outside and able to make a good gain.
First and 10, Cabrillo at the 26-yard line. Smart and Hines, the wide receivers. The give is up the middle to number 35, Saul Davis. And Davis down across the 20 to the 19. It's second down and 3 for the Conquistadors as this second unit has the ball on the move. Heinz wide to the right. Smart comes left. It's Rewalt and Davis in the backfield. Grant keeps the ball on the option and runs into the tackler, and it looked to me that perhaps Davis expected that ball as it came through the line. They have timeout on the field for Cabrillo. The pickup was to the 22-yard line, or rather to the 17-yard line. A pickup of 2 yards, and we'll keep it here. Grant, of course, the reserve quarterback, has shown all the quickness and speed and only lacks the experience of Fitz Wilson to be an excellent quarterback in this league. So with 45 seconds remaining here in the first half, we'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. I'll be right back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back. I'm back. She'll be back. Stay here. I'll be back. I might be back. I'm back. I'm back. I'll be back.
Third down and 1 for the Conquistadors. In at tight end is number 84, Mark Warden, now for the Conquistadors. On the option, the pitch is back to Davis, and Tyler Davis can't find the handle. The ball is loose on the field and covered by the Pirates all the way back at the 27-yard line.
Craig Koarsh was in on that recovery. He made a real nice jump, and I thought he lost the ball for a minute, but he was able to tuck it away. And Cabrillo commits a turnover, and that, of course, happens when you have a backfield that's not used to playing with each other.
This kid's getting a lot of valuable experience in this ball game. It's going to hold him in good stead as they get down the line and come up against the other league challengers, as well as when the Conquistadors hit that CIF playoff time and you need people with experience on the field. 20 seconds remaining as Kurt Chestnut wants to air it out. Intended for Ramos, and is nearly intercepted by Mike Marcelli. I think Marcelli was counting the yards. But Chestnut 0 for 5 now here in the ball game.
Well, while that pass was in the air, Terry Brantley was reading Chestnut the riot act. He just nailed him and leveled him. Just got a great shot at him, hit him right in the numbers and leveled him right after that pass was let go. So that gives Chestnut something to think about next time he goes back to pass.
It'll be second down and 10 yards. The ball at 27 for the Pirates.
You mentioned, Gene, that this is valuable experience. It can't be discounted. There's nothing like being in the game and all that bench and the reserves to get that opportunity. You just can't trade that for anything later on in the season.
Chestnut wants to throw. No receivers open. And Chestnut is finally chased down back at the 24-yard line. A loss of 3 on the play. And with that play, time expires here in the first half. It is the Cabrillo Conquistadors. And now we're being told by the officials that there's still time on the clock. So the Conquistadors headed off. The sirens had sounded. We were ready to break.
Well, Morrow Bay had called a timeout apparently, and Gus Froelich, one of the officials, longtime official here, he does everything, basketball, baseball, as well as football, and he just informs us that Morrow Bay has called another timeout.
So Morrow Bay with 1 second remaining on the clock, attempting to do something to pick them up going in so they can come out in the second half with the will to win, I guess.
Well, they've got a long road back because Cabrillo has not only had 22-0, but they have not gotten those points by mistakes. They had a 13th-place 73-yard drive. They had a touchdown pass from Wilson to Sullivan, 38 yards. They had the long run, 67-yard touchdown run. They've just done it all in this first half. You know, it's really good to see Coach Radford having a good year with his team. He's worked hard these last 3-4 years to put together the kind of team that he would like, and he's had such great success this year, and I'm really glad to see him doing so well.
And building such a fine program at Cabrillo, Coach Steve Haskins with his cross-off group having excellent season this this year and coming off an excellent season last year. The pass was intended for Mike Phelps, and as things have gone for Morrow Bay here in the first half, it falls incomplete again. The quarterback, Kirk Chestnut, 0 for 6 here in the first half unofficially. So finally now, the first half is over, and Cabrillo goes into the locker room with a 22-point advantage. It's 22-0 Cabrillo, and we'll be back with some halftime highlights, some statistics, and just general chit-chat right after this.
on two selections from the musical Fiddler on the Roof. We hope you will enjoy the Sabbath Prayer and the Bottle Dance. Part of Cabrillo's conquest.
Time. It is the Cabrillo Conquistadors, 22, the Morrow Bay Pirates, nothing, Gene Lynch, along with Tim Manchester. And Tim, in the first half, we take a look at statistics. We can see why the score is as it is. Total yardage on the ground for the Pirates from Morrow Bay, just 23 net yards. And if we subtract the 15-yard penalty They're running out there with only 8 yards of total offense in the first half, and you cannot be competitive in any league with that kind of an offensive production.
Well, on the other hand, Cabrillo's offense has done so well, you can see why they have 22 points. In fact, it isn't a wonder that they don't have more points. This is getting pretty close to the predictions that were given for the game, of course, about 45-0. You've got some individual statistics for things. I just looked at the team efforts, 203 yards on 28 rushing. They averaged over 7 yards a carry. I mean, that's every 2 plays you've got a first down rushing. You're going to score some touchdowns when you do that. Of course, one of the rushing plays was a 67-yard touchdown run. It was a great effort. But then there was one pass, and that doesn't look bad when they look at your stats at the end of the day. 1-for-1, touchdown, 38 yards, Fitz Wilson to Sullivan. And that just kept Morrow Bay thinking, well, they can make the pass, and they couldn't get too tight on the line to stop the run. So all in all, 241 yards gained in the first half, and that works out to 480 yards. That's a good day for an offense.
Rod Davis with 2 touchdowns and 1 2-point conversion. Kenny Walton with a 67-yard touchdown run. And Kenny Walton's statistics aren't going to hurt him at all in the 2 counties. Kenny Walton with 5 carries for 96 yards. Rod Davis, the workhorse in the first half, on 12 carries, 56 yards, but that's just 1 and 2 and 3 at a time. Brian Grant with 27 yards and 4 carries, and then 3 or 4 other ball carriers with 10 yards and fewer. Sullivan, as you mentioned, with the 1 long reception, and Fitz Wilson is not hurting his passing percentage at all, but it is 22-zip with the Conquistadors just having controlled the line of scrimmage since halfway through the first quarter.
Yeah, I think we ought to give credit. Often you read off all the yardage that the backfield has gained or how many passes the quarterback has completed, but the credit ought to go to that offensive line. They've done just terrific. McClanahan, Miranda, Soto, and, well, you got a new name for Soik. We'll get that right. And John Roberts at center, and especially the left side of the line. I noticed Cabrillo favors that side on close plays down near the goal line and everything. They love running over Miranda and McClanahan. And that line has just done a tremendous job, and it gives Walton and Davis all the room they need to run.
So the Conquistadors back on the field here to do battle in the second half. And just as we promised before the halftime highlights, standing here with us in the booth, just like in the big time, we have General Chit Chat, otherwise known as Coach Dave Benshoff, Cabrillo High School. Dave, nice to see you.
Well, thanks, Jane. I happened to be downstairs, and I said, I've never been up to see the experts do it, Howard and his buddy, and I thought I'd just come up and see what's happening. You guys do a great job.
He's still looking for the experts.
Yeah,
No,
we're down at the other end, I think.
I think we all enjoy hearing you gentlemen and being able to watch the game one day or one evening and the next watching it again.
Dave, you've had an opportunity to compare this team with a lot of teams that Cabrillo's put on the field in the last couple, 3 years. What is it that makes this one so much more explosive?
Well, I think overall the young men we have are really excited about what they're doing. It's really a full team, and it's teamwork, it's togetherness, and it's really the will that's been instilled by the coaches that they can do it. The young men know they can do it, and it's just that little extra that they're finding inside.
Well, in the network programs, at halftime in the booth, they interviewed people such as Christy Brinkley and Vice President George Bush. And we have General Chit Chat, Dave Benshoff from Cabrillo High School, and we'll be back with the kickoff for the second half right after this. And things have gone pretty much as expected here in the first half, with the possible exception that there were no scores in the first quarter. So now the Pirates doing something they really don't want to do, I'm sure, and that's it. They're going to have to kick off to Cabrillo and let Cabrillo have that ball one more time.
I'll bet that defense is tired of seeing those black and gold jerseys. They're just tired of that routine. You know, that's one of the reasons Cabrillo's rolling up the score is the Morrow Bay offense can't sustain a drive, and they're just giving Cabrillo numerous opportunities to do something with the ball, and Cabrillo is saying, thanking you, and yes, I'll take it into the end zone. 22-0.
Well, we have to give these kids all the credit for Morrow Bay. They're out there fighting their hearts out. They're doing everything they can. They are just overmatched. We're just about underway. Back deep to receive at the 6-yard line is number 12, Brian Grant. Poor kick from the tee. Finally picked up by Brian Grant at the 22-yard line. And Grant up to the 25. It'll be 1st and 10, Cabrillo.
That poor kick ended up being a good kick because it just died on the middle of the field and allowed Morrow Bay to cover it so easily. Ended up being their best kick that they have had. The ball's marked down on the 25-yard line.
So it'll be the first line in there to begin the second half. But if things go as expected, you can be sure that we're going to see a lot of those reserve players very shortly. Fitz Wilson at quarterback, and the give is to Kenny Walton. Kenny Walton running over the middle. That's Roberts and the right guard, Soich. And Walton up to the 34-yard line. Pickup of about 8 on the play.
The linebackers for Morrow Bay are getting a lot of work as well as the cornerbacks because the running backs are just going right through that defensive line. Eric Howard again having to make another stop because the line was unable to tackle the running back.
Second down and 1 after the 9-yard gain by Kenny Walton. The give is to Davis over the left side. And Davis turns and twists his way up to the 41. It'll be 1st and 10, Cabrillo. We're just into the third quarter by 1 minute. It's 22-0, Cabrillo. 1st and 10 at the 42. Wilson to Davis. Rod Davis carries a couple of those folks to midfield.
You know, I remember what Morrow Bay is feeling like because a couple of years ago we were up there in the Atascadero, and Cabrillo, frankly, was just overmatched in that game as well, and it was 6-0, as I recall, at halftime. Cabrillo might have even been ahead, and then Atascadero just wore them down, and that's the situation we're in right here. Only Cabrillo is the one who's doing the wearing down, and they're just creating holes in the line at will.
Second and 1 at the 50-yard line, and it's Kenny Walton. Kenny Walton with that quickness over the left side of the line, Dino Miranda, and McClanahan, David McClanahan, pulls his way down to the 37-yard line. Pickup of 12. Mike Deal and Vincent Flowers are split wide to the weak side. The pitch to Davis. Rod Davis just gets around the corner.
Just off to number 21, Rod Davis. Oh, boy, and they're making that stop.
Davis with a 3-yard gain, pulled down by number 24, Paul Boyan. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The ball at the 34. Wilson wants to throw. He's 1 for 1 so far. He's looking for Scott Duncan and overthrows him. Had him open early. Had he thrown the ball early, had him open at the 30-yard line. Perhaps waited just a tad too long. The Fitz just destroys his passing average in this ballgame, takes 50 points right off it and falls all the way to 50%.
Yeah, I'm sure that breaks his heart. Really, it was a good pass because he would have had to have a perfect pass at the time he threw it. Scott Duncan was well covered by number 26 of Morrow Bay, Mark Tiberis, and he would have had to lay that in just perfectly. And he wisely threw it long. If you can run under it, fine, but there's no interception that way.
3rd and 7. On the option, back to Davis. Rod Davis looking for a block. And is down across the 20-yard line.
Well, the tackle was not made by Coarch, but he's really the one who stopped Davis from going a long ways. He just kept stringing that play out. He was the only one there. Otherwise, Davis could have turned upfield much sooner and been well on his way to a touchdown, perhaps.
15-yard pickup by Rod Davis. 1st and 10, Cabrillo at the 19. 9 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Deal and Sullivan, the wide receivers. Pitch to throw. Scott Duncan wide open at the 5, but Phipps throws it 7 yards deep in the end zone. Just couldn't get the range. So it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Brings us 2nd
It was a nice rollout by Wilson. However, he rolled out right into the arms almost of Eric Howard, number 79. And if you want to watch a little defense from Morrow Bay, he's one of the players to watch. He's 6'4", 215 pounds, so he really is a big man, and he's a fine player. And you'll see him on that left side of the defense just getting in a lot of trouble there, mixing it up. He's a good player.
Second down and 10 at the 19. Fumble on the play.
Well, the fumble was on the snap. Wilson never did get his hands on it.
Ruben Soto making the recovery. Picks up maybe a half a yard. So Ruben Soto with a rushing half-yard gain.
I remember
3rd and 9.
I remember watching Ruben Soto down on the freshman team a couple of years ago, and he's such a fine player, and he's really developed in these last several years.
3rd down for the Conquistador. The give is to Rod Davis. A big hole, and Davis is inside the 5.
You may recall that play in the first half. They just worked it again to perfection. They got the middle linebacker to vacate his spot and then just ran the ball right into that area.
16-yard pickup by Rod Davis. And it's 1st and goal at the 2 for the Conquistadors. What a great hole in that line. That offensive line has done such a fine job. They've developed so well since the first game of the season. Wilson under center. The give is to Mike Marcelli. Marcelli goes over the top. Can't get it all. Running out of that wishbone. They're right down to the inches. We'll give Marcelli 1.5. It'll be 2nd and 1 for Conquistadors. The fullback, number 34, is Terry Brantley. Rod Davis on the right side, Mike Marcelli on the left, Tiemann and Duncan, the tight ends. The give is to Davis, and Davis with a fine second effort into the end zone from 1 yard out. And number 75, Justin Shong, has done such a fine defensive job for the Pirates, nearly put the stop on that one.
Well, that was an excellent play by Shong. In fact, you saw him pound his fist into the turf. He really made a good hit and still allowed the touchdown. He was frustrated because he thought he had the running back down. Morrow Bay was looking for Cabrillo to run to the left side. That's their favorite side to run when they get close to the goal line, and they still managed to take it in.
Mike Sullivan. Another. On the fake, Fitz Wilson rolling and throws into the end zone for number 85, Scott Duncan. And the 2-point after is good. That makes the score Cabrillo 30 and the Pirates nothing with 7 minutes, 17 seconds remaining here in the 3rd quarter, and we'll be back. Cabrillo 30, Morrow Bay nothing. And we have over 7 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Brian Grant to kick off to Taft and to Isbell. The kick is taken at the 7-yard line by Vince Isbell. And Isbell, this time behind his blockers, is up across the 30-yard line. So the Pirates of Morrow Bay, with the best field position they've had in a long time, going to try to do something. With a net 8 yards in the first half, you know that Morrow Bay here going to have to get everything back in order, draw themselves back, and just move the ball for a while, get the confidence back. Kurt Chestnut, the senior quarterback, with the signals. The quick pitch is to Isbell, and Isbell goes nowhere. What a play by Tawa Davis.
Keith Edgecombe was in on that as well as Davis, and in that play, Cabrillo was blitzing. And even with the blitz, and then you pitched outside, that's not all that bad of a play, but Cabrillo is just dominating the line and ended up turning that into no gain and, in fact, a loss.
Loss of 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 15 for the Pirates. The ball at the Morrow Bay 27-yard line.
You can see the fake blitz at least again.
Isbell once again. And once again, Isbell has very little, if any, room to go.
This is such a different Morrow Bay Pirate team than they've had in the past. They've had a couple of fine quarterbacks with the Pirates, as well as some wide receivers. And in the past, even though their defense hasn't been too good, they've been able to score some points. This year, it's a whole different story. They just don't seem to have the passing-receiving combinations they used to.
Nice play by Mike Lauder, holds Isbell to a 1-yard gain. It's 3rd and 14 for the Pirates. Chestnut keeps the ball around the left end, and penalty flags hit the air as Isbell moves up across the 30-yard line. We'll wait for a preliminary sign from Gus Froelich. And a motion penalty. It'll go against the Pirates. So 3rd and 19 or 4th and 10. That seems to be the choice.
Now the substitutions start.
The motion penalty will be declined. Isbell moves the ball all the way up to the 34-yard line. A gain of 6. Or rather, Chestnut, the quarterback, a gain of 6. But it's 4th down and 9 yards, and the Pirates will have to kick the ball away. Morgan and Flowers back deep to receive. Isbell back to do the punting chores. Gets it away. It's very high. Fair catch being called for by Timmy Morgan. And he downs the ball at the 30-yard line where it's 1st and 10, Cabrillo. 4:59 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. It's 1st and 10, Cabrillo. And Morrow Bay calls timeout.
Well, they only had 10 men on the field, and they thought they might have a better chance if you got 11 out there.
Morrow Bay now totally dejected on the sidelines. They came in here with great hopes of making a good showing against this tough Cabrillo squad. They don't have a lot of players out for the team, but every one of them giving it everything he's got, and they just haven't been able to make a dent in the big Conquistador defense.
Well, again, it provides an opportunity for the bench of the Cabrillo Conquistadors to get some action. You never know when somebody might be injured or some other situation that would lead to having a reserve come in a crucial situation. And when they've had a little bit of game time and have kind of eaten the grass in a real game situation, well, it makes all the difference in the world.
There are two young people who are providing quite a service for this Cabrillo High School football team. Without those two people, it'd be a lot tougher to play these ball games. And that's the young ladies that bring the refreshment out to the field. And they are welcome each time they make an appearance. So congratulations to them for their dedication and their efforts on behalf of the Cabrillo High School football team as well. First and 10 for the Conquistador. 4:56 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Fitz-Wilson. The give is to Davis. Davis runs right over the top of Johnny Roberts. Moves the ball up to the 36-yard line, where it's 2nd and 4, Cabrillo. Deal and Sullivan come wide to the left. The give is to Kenny Walton. And Walton up to the 45-yard line before being pulled down. 9-yard gain by Kenny Walton. To leave 1st and 10, Cabrillo. So the offensive line of the Conquistadors, with all of that size and all of that strength, just handling the line of scrimmage. It's 1st and 10, Cabrillo at the 45-yard line. The give is to Davis. Davis cuts inside against the grain and has got some room. Rod Davis with another excellent effort moves the ball to the 30-yard line.
What a marvelous run by Davis. He just cut directions so many times. It's a wonder there weren't some clip blocks. He was really changing directions on the field, and often that can get your blockers to hitting somebody who's turning around, and they ended up causing a clip, but it was just a marvelous run by Davis.
25-yard gallop on Rod Davis's 20th carry of the ball game. First and 10 at the 30. Morgan and Flowers, the wide receivers. This time the handoff is to Kenny Walton. And that was impressive. Walton quickly through the line of scrimmage, ran in face-to-face with a linebacker, stopped, turned left.
You know what you've got to like about Walton and Davis both? They run low to the ground, and they're always ready to make the change, to avoid a tackle, to shift direction, whatever it might be. They just stay low to the ground.
Second down and 4. The ball just across the 25-yard line. Davis. And Davis goes no place. The defense of the Pirates moved right into the hole just before the ball was snapped. They knew it was going as well as anybody, so something tipped off the linebacker in the corner.
Well, they might even be trying to guess. You guess right, you nail somebody, you miss, and, well, they're gone.
2:40 remaining in the third quarter. It's third down and 4 yards to go for the Conquistadors. Wilson on the option play, and the Pirates read it perfectly, and Fitz Wilson will be thrown for a loss of about a yard. Good fourth down now, and about 5.
That's one formation I think Cabrillo can use a lot of work on. They tend to have trouble with that option play to the right. It may be due to the fact that the Pirates do have some good players on that left side of their defensive line, but nevertheless, Wilson seems to have trouble as to what to do with the ball on that particular run.
Wilson to throw the ball. Duncan in the flat, has the first down, and it's run out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. It'll be first and 10 at the 12-yard line.
Maybe next time they run that option, you can watch the defensive end for the Pirates and the linebacker out on that side. It's imperative that they be turned in to make that option work. Cabrillo's had a little trouble doing that.
Wilson to Davis, and the ball's loose on the field. And it just laid there for a second before being covered down there by number 73, Vivi Miranda. No gain on the play. It'll be second down and 10. That was the 22nd Rod Davis carry in the ball game. On the option, the pitch to Davis. And Davis will lose one. So the option play that has worked so well for 5 weeks has been defensed almost perfectly this afternoon by the Pirates.
It's obvious the Pirates spent a lot of time working on defending that play. Vince Isbell in on that play, and Eric Howard was around. You could hear his footsteps as he was ready in case the first tackle didn't take effect.
Third and 11 at the 13-yard line for the Conquistadors. 30 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Pitch to throw again. Decides to tuck it under and run, and is hit hard as he crosses the 10-yard line down to the 9. It'll be fourth down and 6 from the 9. Into the ball game comes Mike Sullivan, and we'll see another field goal attempt by Sullivan. Time expires in the third quarter, so with 3/4 of the ball game gone, it is the Cabrillo Conquistadors 30 and the Morrow Bay Pirates nothing. 12 minutes of football left to play here in the valley. The wind has increased, but it has not been and probably will not be a factor in this ball game. Mike Sullivan now with field goal attempt from the 16-yard line. 26-yard attempt is in the air, And it's good. Mike Sullivan once again, 26-yard field goal, and with 11:55 remaining in the ball game, it's 33 for Cabrillo and the Morrow Bay Pirates, nothing. Gene Lynch along with Tim Manchester, and we have 11 minutes and 55 seconds remaining here in the ball game. Brian Grant kicks off to the 5-yard line. It's Vince Isbell across the 20 to the 25, and Isbell finds some room. Vince Isbell, with a fine individual effort, moves the ball all the way back to the 40-yard line, where it's 1st and 10 Pirates, and they're ready to run.
That was a low kick, unlike some of Grant's other kickoffs, which have been up a bit, and that did allow time for Morrow Bay to set up the wall.
It's 1st and 10, Morrow Bay at their own 40-yard line. Morrow Bay now just looking for respectability. They've played well and they've played hard the entire game, just been outclassed. Kurt Chestnut gives the ball to Isbell, and Isbell up to the 46-yard line. A gain of 6, it'll be 2nd and 4.
Well, almost every play now, Cabrillo is blitzing. Mike Marcelli, one of the safeties, as well as a linebacker, number 85, Scott Duncan. And if Morrow Bay were to get a good hold, you could actually see a good pickup by one of their running backs, because there's a lot of room in the backfield now.
2nd and 4, Isbell gets the call again and goes nowhere. Isbell just stood up at the line of scrimmage, and temper is starting to flare. And it's not totally unexpected from Morrow Bay that their tempers would be a bit short, but the thing that I find surprising is that the Cabrillo ball players are just as short-tempered and more than willing to kind of mix it up down there. We've seen that before this season, and they've pulled some awfully foolish penalties simply because they can't control themselves. They lose their poise, and I hate to see that, and I hope that they get control of that before it gets out of hand here this afternoon. It'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Pirates. The ball is on the ground as Chestnut and Isbell could not get together. So when it rains, it pours.
Well, now we've got a chance to see both of the things we thought might be of some consequence today, the wind and the sun, because Cabrillo's going to be receiving looking right up into the sun, and that wind's really swirling around. We'll see how the punt returner handles that for Cabrillo.
It'll be 4th down and 6. And the Pirates are going to have to kick the ball away. 9 minutes and 40 seconds remaining here in the ball game. And I was wrong. They don't have to do anything. With 4th and 6, the Pirates with nothing to lose, going to go for it.
So much for the punt return.
Now we have a whistle and a penalty flag. Penalty will go against the Pirates.
You'd assume it's time, I believe, for the flag to be thrown from back there.
Move the ball back to the 39-yard line and make it 4th and 11. I'm sure that's not going to change the strategy any. Coach Bob Altfader, Jim Fazio, and Jim Ramos of Morrow Bay know what they've got to do, but they will kick the ball away. Looked at first as though they were going to line up for this one as well. But Isbell is going to kick the ball away for the Pirates. A low driving kick. Flowers elects to take it at the 31 and is downed as he crosses the 35.
Nice one-arm tackle by number 44 for the Morrow Bay Pirates. Spending time hunting for his number, which I can't see at the moment, but it was a good tackle nevertheless.
The 1st and 10 for the Conquistadors at the Cabrillo 37-yard line. And we still see that first unit in there. Wilson, Walton, and Davis in the backfield. The give is to Kenny Walton. Kenny Walton bursts across the 45-yard line. It'll be a 1st down.
Well, it interests me, Gene, that they still have the starting unit out. There's only 8:58 left, and they're well up, and you'd think it would be good to get some more practice for the bench.
Makes you wonder if maybe they're playing for the Northwestern Conference CIF rating, doesn't it?
Maybe so.
The ball at the 48-yard line.
Note that you said that, though.
Yeah, I know. Wilson wants to throw the ball. And he has Kenny Walton at the 38. And Kenny Walton steps out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
That was a really nice move by Fitz. He was being blindsided, and all of a sudden he noticed the rusher, and he just made a quick sidestep that got him out into the near flat, and he was able to throw on the run. That was really a good scrambling play.
17-yard pickup on the pass play to Kenny Walton. And it's 1st and 10 Cabrillo at the 31-yard line. Wilson to throw again. This time, once again, on the same pass play, exactly the same play. Kenny Walton with the ball down to the 19-yard line, a 12-yard pickup. The ball being spotted just across the 20. 8:28 remaining to be played. Flowers and Morgan are the wide receivers. The give is to Rod Davis over the right tackle. And Davis moves down to the 16. It'll be 2nd down and 7. The ball spotted just shy of the 16-yard line. Mike Deal comes wide to the weak side. Wilson looking over the middle for Vincent Flowers. The ball intercepted at the goal line. And Wilson makes what might have been a touchdown-saving tackle at the 20. Mitch Webster with an interception, the ball thrown right to him.
Yeah, really, Fitz, that was not a good pass at all. He was under a bit of a rush, and he tried to force the pass. He was trying to hit a receiver at about the 8-yard line, and he just clearly overthrew him, and it would settle right into the hands of an eager Webster.
Well, Wilson had his mind made up that time that he was going to throw the ball to Vincent Flowers, and Flowers simply wasn't open. The ball was overthrown and right into the hands of Mitch Webster. And it's 1st and 10 for the Pirates at the Pirate 20-yard line. Chestnut keeps the ball, and the ball's loose on the ground. Chestnut fumbled the ball after being hit really hard, and it's taken back by the Conquistadors. So the defense making the play when they had to, and Cabrillo once again in fine field position. So on the exchange, Cabrillo loses only about 2 yards, and it's 1st and 10 at the 19. Wilson to throw. Scott Duncan at the 16-yard line. And Duncan lumbers down to the 8-yard line before being driven out of bounds. That's Duncan's 3rd pass reception of the ball game. 1st and goal at the 8.
Well, Cabrillo's practicing their passing drills right now. They really didn't utilize it during the major part of the game, and now with the waning moments of this game here, they're just trying to sharpen up their passing a bit.
7:15 left in the ball game. The give is to the 2nd man, Rod Davis, and Davis down to the 5-yard line. They spot the ball just across the 5 at the 4-yard line. So it's 2nd down and goal at the 4.5. Tiemann and number 84, Mark Warden, in at tight end. Out of the wishbone, the give is to Mike Marcelli. And they're going to mark Mike Marcelli. That's hard to say.
They might mic him too.
Short of the goal line. So Marcelli with 4 yards. And it'll be 3rd down and inches.
Well, you should see some straight drive blocking here.
Edgecombe in at fullback in the wishbone. The give is to Marcelli once again. And Marcelli in from one. So the score now 39-0 Cabrillo with just over 6 minutes to play, and Mike Sullivan into the ballgame for the point after attempt.
You know, we talked a little bit about the rankings and standings, and they really do have a factor at the end of the season because it can determine who gets the home field advantage based on your ranking. So that in the Northwestern League, so that is of some importance even this early.
Now penalty flag. Somebody has encroached in the neutral zone.
Well, they should have their hands spanked for it, and I think it has been appropriately touched.
Failure to report.
Well, that could be a number of specific factors.
That'll back it up 5.
I'm going to call that a wrong number on the line, but I'm not sure exactly how that might be
I
interpreted
suspect that's what it was.
in this case.
So now it'll be the point after attempt from the 15-yard line. Marcelli. And it's good. I'm sorry, Mike Sullivan, rather. Sullivan is good on his attempt for the point after. So with 6 minutes, 9 seconds remaining here in the ballgame, it is the Cabrillo Conquistadors 40 and the Morrow Bay Pirates nothing. Brian Grant to kick off once again for Cabrillo. Back deep to receive. Taft and Isbell. Isbell at the 6-yard line, straight up the middle and found a hole. So Isbell, having done yeoman duty for the Pirates, makes another fine run, his second in a row off the kickoff. Moves the ball all the way up to the 32-yard line where it's 1st and 10 Pirates.
Brought down by Mike Deal, who's had a hand in several tackles on the special teams.
Unofficially, according to my records, Morrow Bay with only 6 total yards here on the ground in the second half. So it's been a bleak afternoon for the Pirates. Chestnut on the keeper. It's the option pitch back to Isbell. Isbell evades one tackler, Marco Milton, and moves the ball up across the 35 to the 39-yard line.
Now we do have a flag on the other side, and there was a holding. That's just a shame. It was holding away from the play. Wouldn't have helped or hurt the play, either one, and yet a Pirate decided he wanted to hang on.
I expect they'll take this penalty.
Well, that would nullify the nice run back on the kickoff and put the Pirates again deep in their own territory. They started out on their own 26-yard line, 24-yard line. They started out one time up at the 49-yard line, and then they proceeded to turn the ball over.
It'll be first down and about 23 yards for the Morrow Bay Pirates on the holding call. As Chestnut once again trying to put something together. The ball's loose on the field. Chestnut wanting to throw that ball just got crunched by number 67, Steve Smith.
Yeah, and he was passing at the time, so it wasn't a fumble. His arm was moving forward. Just an incomplete
Ruled a
pass.
fumble, and the ball will move back all the way to the 14-yard line, a loss of 5.
Well, that was interesting. I really thought his arm was in forward progress at the time, and in fact, I thought I saw the official signal just an incomplete pass.
4:55 remaining. It's second and the fur piece for the Pirates as Chestnut once again wants to pass, and once again the defensive line, that's on linebacker Steve Pyro, just having none of it.
Well, you just have to think the Pirate line has given up, and they really can't afford to do that because then it becomes field day on Chestnut or anybody else in the backfield. They've got to do their level best to protect those people in the back.
Marco Milton now into the defensive secondary for Cabrillo along with number 24, Brad Bunker. As Chestnut trying to get something done, but the Cabrillo Conquistadors know that Chestnut's got to throw the ball to get anything going, and they're just coming, just throwing all sorts of caution to the wind. And if Chestnut could ever get the ball away, it'd go for big, but it just doesn't have a chance. And it'll be fourth down and 45, 48 yards for the first down.
Just call it 4th and a mile. Smart and Edgecombe in on that last sack, and it's just open season now on a quarterback.
Isbell will have to punt from his own end zone. It's Flowers and Morgan back deep to receive. Kick taken, will bounce at the 36-yard line, takes a fine. Morrow Bay bounce across midfield and is finally down at the Cabrillo 47-yard line. Will be 1st and 10, Conquistadors. And Tala Davis getting into a little bit of a conflict with a Pirate. And Davis is ahead by 40 points. He's got to show some poise. We'll be back.
Discount Furniture of Lompoc discounts quality major brand new furniture and mattresses 365 days a year. There are 6 reasons why you'll always save money. No fancy showrooms. No high-paid executives. No fancy fixtures. No expensive equipment. No home office to support. And no commission salespeople. Beautiful name-brand furniture at discount prices. Visit Discount Furniture, 908 North 8th Street in Lompoc.
2 more very valuable parts of the Cabrillo Conquistador football family. Lisa Rickwald and Kate Feldkamp, who keep statistics for the Conquistadors. It's 1st and 10 at their own 47 for the Conquistadors. Brian Grant at quarterback, and the give is to Steve Pyro, and Pyro turns and twists his way across midfield and gets about 6. The pickup of 6 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4 as the reserve players for the Conquistadors are on the field getting some valuable experience. Scott J. Duncan, number 43, splits wide to the right as Grant pitches back to Rewald, and Rewald delivers the blow. What a fine play by Rewald in delivering the blow to the tackler, and a penalty flag is down as Rewald pulls his way down to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, it was a clear face mask, number 34. You could just see it. We had a perfect angle here. Mike Tapp, little upset, I guess, because it isn't going his way this day. Just pulled on the face mask there, right in front of the official.
So we'll tack some on to Rewald's fine run. It'll move all the way down to the Morrow Bay 25-yard line.
You know, that face mask, sometimes you think it doesn't need to be called because he wasn't hurt. But all you have to see is one person running by and getting grabbed by the face mask without any tackle below, and watch that neck turn around, and you know why they have that penalty.
2.5 minutes remaining here in the ball game. Clint Chadwick split wide to the right for the Conquistadors. The give is to Rewald once again, and Rewald doesn't want to go down. Rewald showing fine form going through the line very quickly, and what a nice hold by that reserve offensive line.
Oh, the left side of that line was terrific, and you got to love that first step of the running backs for Cabrillo, from Rewald to Walton and Davis. They are just so quick.
That's Andy Thompson, Chris Jones out on the left side tackling guard for Cabrillo. Grant, the give is to Pyro, and Pyro's inside the 10.
Number 33, Steve Pyro, the ball carrier.
Steve Smith had a nice block to help open up the hole for Cabrillo on that play.
5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5, Conquistadors from the 8.
You have timeout on the field with 1 minute and 41 seconds remaining. It's Cabrillo 40 and Morrow Bay Pirates nothing, and we'll be back after these messages. 1 minute, 41 seconds remaining, and Cabrillo Conquistadors will take home their very first Los Padres League victory against the Pirates from Morrow Bay. At tight end now for the Conquistadors is number 86, Tim Esparza. Darrell Mace, number 61, and Mike Lauder, number 72, on the right side. Steve Smith at center. Brian Grant, quarterback, gives the ball once again to Rewalt, and Rewalt fights forward to about the 5-yard line.
Rewalt's 161 pounds, 5'10", and he's really making the most of the opportunities that he's been given in this game to play, since he is a reserve at that position behind Walton and Davis.
It'll be third down and 2 yards for the Conquistadors at the 6-yard line. Number 45, Dean Desa, splits wide to the right. On the option, Brian Grant keeps the ball and takes it in from 6.
But now that was just a good play call. After all those handoff left, handoff right, and then suddenly to keep it, that just froze all of that defense in the inner line for Morrow Bay, and their linebackers were waiting for another just off-tackle play, and that just made it wide open for Grant to make the turn and take it in.
So it's now 46-0. The Cabrillo Conquistadors lead it as Mike Sullivan will attempt point after touchdown out of the hold of Fitz Wilson. And Sullivan, once again,
and we have
mark,
some
but we have a
fisticuffs.
penalty.
Steve Pyro is duking it out with number 20 for Morrow Bay, and that's a shame. All it was a little overzealous blocking with the elbows, and it turned into a fist fight.
As I mentioned before, that's Mitch Webster, number 20, I believe. And Webster is sick and tired of being sick and tired here on this field. And he and Steve Pyro, as well as a number of other people, went at it together. And as I said before, while it can be expected from the Morrow Bay Pirates to see some short tempers, I mean, they're being humiliated on the field.
We didn't see who started it. It's just one of those things that happens when some little frustration gets going down on the field.
My point is that for Cabrillo Conquistadors to be on top by a score of 47-0, that they should have enough poise and enough class to walk away from it.
Yes.
And they have not shown that they have that poise. They have not shown it in this game, and they have not shown it in the past.
Yes.
And I know that's something that Coach Radford and the rest of the staff are very much concerned about, and it's also something that's hard to do anything about. But at least from this position up here, I think Cabrillo definitely needs to work on poise.
Well, at this point in the game, there's no need to have to prove your manhood. There's no question of that, 47-0. So you're certainly right that they could have walked away from it and said, hey, I know he's frustrated. The players have got to understand what Morrow Bay's feeling right now, and that is total frustration, and give them that room.
Part of the problem is that most of these players have consistently been on winning teams, and that's good for them. I'm glad that they have. You don't have to think very far back in Cabrillo football history to know that Cabrillo could well be on the other side of this score just a couple of years ago.
Oh, how well I remember him. And by the way, Gus Froelich, the official, just noted both players were kicked out for that fighting. Major personal fouls, and they were both ejected.
So we have a 5-yard penalty, a procedure penalty against the Conquistadors on the kick. So the first PAT the attempt was no good. And now we have a motion penalty.
And what happened was a Pirate jumped, and that caused Steve Smith to jump from the left side for Cabrillo, and I'd assume he'd get the penalty. We'll see.
So an outside penalty will go against the Pirates. We'll move it right back down to the original 2-yard line. So Sullivan will have his third attempt.
Well, we're just going back and forth with all this happening, only we're minus 2 players right now. That's Mitch Webster.
The ball is placed at the 4-yard line. So Sullivan now will try the point after the ball will be marked at about the 11. It does not make a great deal of difference to Mike Sullivan. And Sullivan is good on the point after the score now with exactly 1 minute remaining in the ball game. Is Cabrillo 47 and Morrow Bay nothing. Exactly 1 minute remaining here in the ball game. The Conquistadors 47 and the Pirates nothing. After a scoreless first quarter, the Conquistadors have pretty much rambled at will up and down the gridiron. Taft and Isbell back needs to receive. Isbell takes the kick at the 3-yard line. Isbell changes direction and advances the ball up to the 24 before being dragged down from behind. It'll be 1st and 10, Morrow Bay, and they've just 53 seconds to do something.
You know, I like that Isbell. He's really looked good on the kickoff returns. He's a good player. Morrow Bay has several good players. The problem is they just don't have enough of them, and I'm sure those players, Eric Howard and a couple of the other, Justin Shong and Isbell, of course, Chestnut, there's some good players there, and it's just too bad there isn't a full complement on that team.
The clock is running with 40 seconds remaining. It's 1st and 10 at the 24 for the Pirates. The give was to Isbell, and he'll lose yardage because the entire Cabrillo defense is coming flat out on every play now. The loss is back to the 22.
Well, that was a fun play to watch because number 67, Steve Smith, when he went into the backfield, wasn't sure who was getting the ball, and he grabbed Isbell and Chestnut both, one in each arm, and took them to the ground. That was really a fine individual play by Smith.
There's no time right now for finesse in the defense. They're just going straight in. They know what Morrow Bay is going to try to do, and they're going to just make sure that they maintain the shutout. And with that play, the loss back to the 7-yard line. Time expires. So Cabrillo Conquistadors, with their first victory here in the Los Padres League, have defeated the Morrow Bay Pirates in a rout, 47-0. And we'll be back with a final look at some statistics and a wrap-up right after this.